Oh, yeah.
Bless and love, my lords. Welcome to another Red Lion ArtDrop chat. Today we have a brand new exhibition starting, and it's called Samba. It's an exhibition celebrating Brazilian diversity and Brazilian artists. It's hosted by our dear project Filtered Art, which is a discovery project led by our friend OMZ. And our first artist is LesCogumelos. I hope I pronounced that right. But let's give it up for OMZ. How are you doing, sir? Welcome.
Hey man, thanks for having me. And I gotta congratulate you. That was a sick intro. I've never heard it before.
Oh yeah, man. We own that fucking song. We wrote it, and we paid an artist on Fiverr to create it as we wanted it, and it belongs to us. It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, it's fantastic. Great man. Happy to be here. I'm very happy to host LesCogumelos. I probably butchered that, but one of my favorite emerging artists. And in general, I'm very excited about this 7-week series because there's a wealth of talent from Brazil. It's amazing actually, and very very colorful, flavorful, vibrant art. Um, so really really excited, and even with 7 weeks, I don't think I think we'd struggle to showcase all the talent that's out there. But I think we're very fortunate to have LesCogumelos on. She's really a special talent, very unique, very unique artist with a very special way of doing things. So I'm very excited to talk to her today.
Hmm. Fantastic, man. I'm so excited. There's nobody in the world that hears the word Brazil and doesn't smile. Welcome, Let's Go Melos. How are you doing?
Hi, thank you very much for having me. I'm doing great and I'm so happy to be here. It's my first time talking on a space, so I'm a little bit nervous, but I think it's going to be very fun to be able to share a bit about my art and my progress. And yeah, thank you so much, OMZ, for inviting me. Um, yeah, thank you so much. It's very special to be part of the first one on this exhibition about Brazilian artists. And yeah, let's go.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for coming in. There's nothing to worry about here. We have a very chilled conversation, so you can relax. And I can tell you that from all the accents we are talking, Brazilian accents are wonderful. So it will be a pleasure listening to you.
Yeah, and you're already doing better than I did the first time. You can ask Red Lion. I took me 15 minutes to figure out how to use it. So you're already doing better than I did.
Amazing.
So
Let me pass it over to you, and you can start with your questions, and I will be jumping in and out.
yeah, sure. I mean, let's start from the beginning. I'd love to hear your story. How you started creating art, why you started creating art, and then from there, how you discovered NFTs. What brought you to crypto art?
Sure. I consider myself like a digital native artist because the first time that I start getting interest about it was when I cracked the Photoshop when I was like 9, 10 years old. And for me, this was a moment that expanded my world because I was like I did have like ability to have materials like art supplies when I was growing up, and having like these softwares with a bunch of brushes and colors and possibilities. It was very amazing to me, and I started to doing graphic design. And at first, I was really like, "Oh my God, I'm going to do this for my life," but then I ended up having some clients like my mom and my uncle, and I was like, no, I don't think that's that's what I'm going to do, because the creativity is very limited to the needs of the clients. So yeah, I short fell in love with photography, which it was very amazing for me to discover a new medium. And when I was like 15, I got my first camera. But since I am very like introvert, I wasn't like having many models for taking the pictures, and it was very a slow process, but very fun. And then I started to adding some videos, which I fell in love again. Like, I'm always very passionate about the mediums that I start to doing, and this end up with me going to college to study cinema. And in 2020, it was the year that I was going to graduate. So I was in that phase that was like, okay, so what I'm going to do, and how can I make a living from my art? And cinema is kind of a different way of working because it's very collective. So I didn't felt like I was really expressing myself. And then that was the year that my brother was, he's an economist and he was studying crypto, and he invited me to this live stream of an artist on the Whaley community on Discord. And at first I was okay, let's do it because I want to hang out with my brother. But end up it was like Javier Ares. I think he's an artist from Spain, I guess.
Oh,
And
yes, we also had him here for an interview, Javier.
nice. Yeah, I was like, oh my god, this is amazing.
He uses
Like,
his brother as a chauffeur.
oh, yeah, I didn't know that. And I was like, yeah, let's dive in NFT. And I was very like super excited. That was like August 2020, and I was like, I really went deep on studying blockchain and NFTs, and the Whaley community was very supportive. The first NFT that I launched, my first collectors were from the community, and yeah, it was very special moment, like to figure out things. And of course, like I knew about English, but I wasn't like using it like to write and to speak, and it was a moment so I could, like to level up my skills on this language, which I think is very important to connect with people in this space. And yeah, this is about a bit of my journey so far. And yeah, making art is something that now I don't see myself doing anything else, because I really feel like it's really the best way I can express myself. And like the question why the reason I'm making in 2020 was also the year that I was like super worried about environment uh things. So I was like, yeah, we not in a good moment, and I wanted to do something about, like, to help, you know, to share something that could be benefit. And making art highlight nature is the way that I'm finding to participate in some kind of change, I hope. Yeah, I think I talk about a lot now, but yeah, that's a bit of it.
It's amazing. I mean, you were quite early then. If it was August 2020, that was quite early, relatively speaking, to get into the space.
Yeah, that was super early. She was mentioning the whale community, which was big super early on. And Javier also was huge in there. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, he's kind of under the radar, funnily enough. But yeah, he was.
I
even though
was so surprised by that, man. Like, we had him over for an interview, and I was like, man, I know your art since I started in the space. It's amazing. I mean, like, you should have more followers.
yeah, he's won a BNL, which not a lot of people in the space can say. But let's focus on
It's great.
LesCogumelos. Yeah, but
Yeah. Sorry.
that's okay. I mean, look, I mean, obviously, I've collected a couple of your works, and we've talked on DMs before. And I remember when I first came across your work, what struck me, and which you kind of touched on, was the fact that you are inspired by nature, and a lot, almost every piece you create has some kind of either a plant or animal or scenes from nature that you've recorded, right? I mean, can you talk about like your process? Because if I'm not mistaken, you record all the videos and the photos that you use in your art, right?
Yeah, that's right. Um, I love to travel, and when I'm traveling, I always like to record. And I never have like a end goal. Like I just do it because I like to observe nature, and why not to record it to be able to see it again. So when I was starting to do those collage works, um yeah, I was like, oh my god, I have so many beautiful images of nature, and I need to do something with it because otherwise it's just going to be lost in my hard drive. So, and yeah, the part of this collage, um it's very organic in the way that it starts. Like sometimes I have an image in my mind and I start doing it, and then I go to chase so those footage to see what can go with it. and and I think the main point is to highlight, like to use this observation skills that I have. Like I really like to spend time looking at, so making art, and I give a new meaning to those images, and I can be able to highlight to other people to also see those things that captivate me and make me like amazed, like to see how beautiful it is. And yeah, this last collection that I'm doing, Sagittarius Moon, it's all using images from hikings that I went and with friends, and it's nice because there's this part of that is memory for me, because of course every time that I look to this piece, that it has a new meaning, but still it reminds me of those moments that we spent together. And yeah, I think it's a mix of a lot of things. Like I like to think about my art, but yeah, especially nature, because I can't I can go away from it. It was when I start to feel connected with nature. It was when I don't know, things change for me in my life. So it's like sharing a bit of this part of me, and while being something that other people can relate, because we are all surrounded by it. So yeah.
Yeah, it's very refreshing because I mean, right, like we're all behind our screens. This is crypto art. It's very, technology focused, and yet here you are, using experiences and images and content that you're getting from actual adventures. I mean, talk more about like where you get these images. You go into the hills, you go into different parts of Brazil. You really immerse yourself in nature, right? It's not like you're doing this in a suburb of the city or I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah, always when I travel, I like to go to those places that are very far away, and it's kind of a bit of hard to get to those places. But even without a car, I always can manage to go. And in Brazil, there's so many beautiful places. It's like I spent the first time that I really went to travel was like 7 months backpacking with a friend, and we went from different places, and it helps having like friends in different states of Brazil because we can always crash on their house, and it's nice that. And yeah, if like there's so many places that I still have to go in Brazil, but the ones that I went is already so special, and I like to stay like for a while in those places. Like for me to really experience, I have to be like at least 1 week, and yeah, there was like 2021. Yeah, because of pandemic, I wasn't able to travel a lot. But before that, always that we had school breaks, I was like, yeah, I'm going to travel. And even with almost no money in my pocket, I find a way because there's a lot of kind people in the world that help you to go far away. And yeah, if I can give a recommendation, if someone wants to come to Brazil, like Bahia, it's like amazing place to go. Um, the I have using the image of Chapada Diamantina, which is a place like no other because it's really like only nature all around, and very tiny communities, and yeah, very refreshing because here in like in Rio de Janeiro right now, and of course we have nature in the city, but it's totally different to be uh, to hear the silence of nature, like to really be in this place where you know that we are sharing um, life with other beings. And yeah, there's a lot of places in the world that I still going to explore for sure, but I hope to be able to come back to Brazil and discover even more.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I always love seeing your process videos because you share. I think one of the things you do that I think is really cool is you share very detailed process videos, and I always find it really amazing actually how you put these pieces together. Like, are there artists that inspire you, your style, or is it just kind of something you came up with on your own, the way you put these collages together?
Yeah, it's hard for me to say like artists that inspire me because of course I take inspiration from a lot of places, and I think that's why my art is this mix of things like um because I get inspired by cinema and animation and photography, and but yeah, I don't know, Anti Pantone, like everyone, I mean, I guess a lot of people can see some things on the aspect of combining videos with the art, but they
Yeah,
don't know I like. I
sorry,
guess
go ahead. Sorry. No, no,
no,
keep going.
no, that's fine.
uh, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm still getting the hang of this, but no, that's an interesting example because Ant Pantone, he does these stop motion kind of animations that are very tactile and textured. So there are definitely similarities, but I still think what you do is a little is unique in terms of the way you combine like the elements and the things you combine. It's kind of very different. And the energy of your work actually I think is very special. That's one of the things that attracted me to your work in the first place. I just think you have such amazing vibes. Like it's so happy and positive. Every time I see one of your pieces, it's always my reaction. I know you recently dropped like your first dynamic piece, Everywhere I Grow. You want to talk a bit about that? Because that kind of feels like a little, in a way, like a self-portrait almost.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I have two self-portraits that are very important to me. One is We Are Never Alone, and the other is Everywhere I Grow. I think they both um, represent a very deep thing about myself. And Everywhere I grow, it's yeah, it came out with this idea of this concept of um, I travel because I want to know the world, and the things that I know about the world make me a better person, I guess. Like it helping me to grow, and visually it's easy to do something with it. Like things are growing inside me, and they are growing and dying and growing on its cycle of changing. And it was I 2021, and actually it was the first one that I was like, oh, I think I'm going to use animation with my videos from my travels. But because the concept was so special, I ended up doing other pieces with the same idea of combining those two elements. And it was just recently that I thought about this dynamic aspect where I could use this ability on blockchain to change. Like I like to think that this work is a work in progress, just like I am a work in progress. Like I'm always seeking to evolve, and this piece is going to be this in a visual way where I can represent the places I went, but also to represent my style and my artistic skills to evolve, because each time that I spent more than 12 days in a place, and this amount of days, like 12 days, is based on this idea that I can only experience a place for like a good amount of days, and I think 12 it's enough to also keep the working dynamic. And yeah, every time I spend more than 12 days, I'm going to make a new collage, which is going to be a bit about the place. And I think it's going to be a very fun journey. It's very personal. That's why I'm not like super um, involved in promoting, because I don't want to give expectations beyond what feels comfortable to me to make to work on this piece. But I'm very excited to see what's going to come like in years, like, and to see them all together. And another thing about this piece is that there was like a suggestion from a friend that since I'm going to change the metadata of the NFT, uh, to not lose the previous collage, I'm going to mint it as an edition, so people can that like the specific collage that I make will be able to own and to support and to be part of this journey. And yeah, I love this project so much.
It's amazing. I know, I mean, like a lot of artists, I know just from our conversations, you kind of struggled with the whole Twitter experience, right? With how do you get your work out there and how do you get attention on your work? But I've noticed recently you've been getting a lot more eyes on your work. I mean, how's that experience been for you, especially as someone who's been in the space now for, a pretty long period of time? Like, how have you seen that evolve? How do you feel about it? I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, it's a roller coaster, like literally, because yeah, I'm being here for a long time, like almost 3 years, and I had to grow in myself a lot of strength to deal because yeah, like observing this space. A lot of times I didn't felt like I was feeding it, like because all these social games and popularity and things like that, I never felt like I could have my space. But in terms of my art, I think because of having so many struggles, I was like, okay, so I can rely on external factors. So what I'm going to need to keep doing it's to focus on the reason why I'm making art and the reason why, like, you know, the vision behind, but also like what makes me feel like I'm passionate about. And every time I make something, I'm like, wow, I can't believe it. It's amazing feeling like to create something that you like, and especially this thing about expression because this is another thing that I think about. Like, of course, this space requires a lot of communication, and because I always in my life, growing up and everything, I felt like communication was a struggle to me. And recently, I started to think like, okay, but if art is my expression, art is also the way I'm going to connect with people. So I don't need to force myself to create connections by tweeting or I don't know DMs or anything. I can focus on only on the art and to have fun, like to create because I love it. And this recent like boom of likes and things, it's very like heartwarming, like of course, because it's amazing to have a bit of recognition and to know that more people are seeing the pieces that I believe so much in the message behind. So um yeah, it's very amazing and it's crazy because in a lot of moments that I tweeted my art and I got like very few likes and was like, oh my god, I think maybe this is not good enough, and like a lot of those thoughts. And then now the same artwork is getting like so much love, and it is just confirming my theory that it's not about the quality. It's like it doesn't matter the likes or the numbers. In the end, we have to trust and to be confident and to love what we do. And in some points, I guess people will connect it with it. And yeah, but it's very nice to see people looking more into my work.
Yeah, I've noticed. I mean, the last few pieces as well, specifically, I think one of my favorites of yours actually is Fragments of a Lifetime that Fungible collected. Um, Something about it. I think the animations that you use there, the effects you applied to them, I just find it so magical. And I'm curious. I know this is a very difficult question to ask any artist because it's like asking you to choose your favorite child. Like, is there an artwork that stands out to you? It's your most special or your most kind of your favorite piece?
No, yeah, this is the hardest question of all. Like, even when people ask me like, what is your favorite movie? I'm like, man, this is too hard. Don't make me choose. And of course, with art is even more hard because like I like to do every piece to be unique by its own, and end up that every piece is going to have like a different affection. And yeah, I definitely I am obsessed with the Fragments of a Lifetime. And oh yeah, that was like the moment that I thought, damn, I think I level up with this one. And but they're damn so hard to say a favorite one.
Don't worry, I'll save you. You don't have to, you don't have to answer. I mean, look, I think if anyone listening, if you haven't seen LesCogumelos' work, I highly recommend it only because of the energy, like the vibes. Uh, Her work just always puts a smile on my face, and you can get that energy just from hearing her speak. It's so infectious. But yeah, I just want to switch a little bit. I'm curious because I've noticed there's so much talent coming out of Brazil. Obviously, you have Omente Jovem, who's been very successful. Etienne Kraus, who's like an amazing artist, and many others. Are you guys like a community? Do you all know each other? And like, why do you think Brazil has produced so many talented crypto artists?
People say that there's something in the water, and yeah, I really don't know. I think like growing up, um, many of us never thought about like being an artist because I don't know, for me, I didn't even think that it was a possibility. Like um, most of the famous artists, I just end up knowing the work like when I was in this space because it's not something like very profound like in the school. Like they don't really teach us about art history and even the importance of that. Like it's crazy actually. I think they think about money also, like because yeah we but in the end I think maybe because we never like expect to actually make a living of art, we end up doing it because of the love of it. So um that's the only reason, like that we can really uh connect with art is because we want to make and to express ourselves. And yeah, but of course it's hard, but I agree there is so many amazing arts. I'm like, damn, what's happening?
Yeah,
But yeah,
and right now, just by scrolling your feed to find those tweets to pin up, I saw so much amazing art. Like your scroll, it's like a discovery. So many amazing artists that you have been sharing.
yeah, I love to share art on Twitter because like that's the way we can not only help each other, but like why you wouldn't share something that you like, like more people can see and to be happy seeing this piece of art. And yeah, it's amazing to share and really helps.
Yeah, it was a journey now scrolling and finding, oh, that is so cool. That is so cool. And I loved how you did the tweets like, oh, this stayed in my mind. Because, like, that happens to me a lot. I see a piece and then I think about it a lot. Can be a random one, can be anything. But yeah, it stays with me a lot of times, like you were showing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sometimes like yeah, of
yeah.
course.
Go ahead, please. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
I'm
it's
gonna mute
just
myself. No, no.
no, it's just because this thing about like being on Twitter that everything is so fast, so many art, and sometimes like uh, we really connect with a piece of art and we retweet it like multiple times because like it's not enough, like just I don't know 5 seconds that people look at it, like damn, it's so fast, so many amazing art. It was just a
So curious. I mean, what is your vision for? Like, what are your goals or your vision? Where do you see your career, or your journey going? How do you see it go? Do you see yourself traveling more outside of Brazil, producing more artwork inspired by other places? Do you continue focusing purely on like nature inspired work? Like, what do you see for your future?
Yeah, definitely get inspired by other places and to expand. I also like in terms of being in this space, I really want to do some more dynamic and interactive works where people also can, be part of the experience, and but in a more like long term in terms of I really want to study more about art therapy, and because I think it's a very powerful thing, especially if we combine with nature and psychedelics. I think the three, it's like so powerful, and there's so many people that can benefit from it. Yeah, like the amount of pain that is going on in the world, uh, especially like with the environment crisis. There's a lot of anxious because about the future, and we have to have some hope, because otherwise how are you going to continue? So yeah, I think it's a very great tool, like art and nature, to help to heal some wounds that, but on ideas for study and to put in practice. And yeah, let's see how it's going.
You mentioned psychedelics. Do you do any psychedelics?
uh yeah, probably less than people assume. But yeah, to be honest, like my artistic name is LesCogumelos, which means the mushrooms. It's a combination of French and Portuguese. Cogumelos means mushrooms, and I feel like growing up, I never were really connected with nature. Like I didn't grow up around nature or even caring about. But I had this experience with mushrooms like when I was, I guess, 19. I was in a waterfall and I took mushrooms. And for me, that moment, it was the first time that I really felt connected with something. And it was so special. Like I even remember I'm touching um, a tree with like musk on it, like the texture. I was like, wow, this is so special. Like there's so many things happening. Yeah, this is there's so many things happening in the world, and we don't pay attention. Like so many ecosystems like happening around us, and we just are focused on our own experience, and we don't feel like connected because we are putting ourselves in this position of being above everything else. And it was a very important experience for me, and but I didn't had many others. Like, well, I took ayahuasca 3 times already, which is another
How
topic
was
for
that? How was that?
um it makes mushrooms to look like candy. It's so strong, like it's uncomfortable. Like it's not a experience that you go like to entertainment. It's very like you get punched. Like the first time that I took, I literally passed out. Like I almost fell in the floor, like because it was so strong, and there are so many insights about all sorts of things. Like it's very um very many messages and things coming up that after like 2 experience, in the third one I was like, okay, no, I need to have focus, because it's easy to just, to lay down and
To drift.
go with the flow. But we have to get, like, I think with any substance, like even weed, if we don't have a purpose and a meaning to do it, it can goes for different ways. And I think that's why people go to bad trip, because they are not conscious about what they are taking. And yeah, with ayahuasca it was very strong experience. And the last time I was like, okay, I'm going to ask myself, because I don't know if I'm asking to who I'm asking, but I was like, okay, I'm going to think about creativity. And it was so amazing, like the things that I felt like I was, where did come the creativity, and like how can I get better at it. And in the end, it's just like creativity is around us, and we just, like, we are just channeling this energy that is around us. And the more you are open to let go and not like overthinking what you're doing, the better it's going to be, because you open the gates of the flow. And and yeah. And then I was listening to the Huck Rubin book, like the creative act, I guess that's called. And he talks a lot about it, like the things that I was felting. He talks about that it's very spiritual way to look to art. And yeah, I think I'm going to this path even more. But yeah.
Let me invite one more lady into this interview. Hey, Amina, how are you?
Hello. It's so good to be here. Finally, a speaker who is not a bro. I'm very happy that you took my advice, and nice to meet you, Mushroom Head. Let's
LesCogumelos. Yes.
I love it. I'm sorry. I came in when you were speaking about art therapy, and I actually had a lot of underlying like trauma from I was born into a war zone, and so as growing up in that kind of trauma, like there's a lot of suppression that happens. And it wasn't until like 2013 that I did a lot of art to let it come out, and when you're forced to like face it, um, you can then heal. And it's like very, very important. So I'm thank you very much for bringing that to, discussion here, because art really does heal. And without certain art, um, I feel like I wouldn't be the same person. Like without certain music, I wouldn't be in this position I am in right now. So thank you for your vulnerability.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing this. For me, it's still a new subject. I'm just, trying to understand on my own perspective, like what does art do to me. But I'm eager to know, like, to deep dive more on this subject, to make it a tool for other people, perhaps.
Yeah, until you heal that part of yourself, I think it's harder to do that for other people, because you're not at that, like, vibration that you need to be. And I think with art, you don't like art takes you to the level I think that psychedelics probably would. So you don't even need psychedelics if you're doing art like right from the heart. I think you can go in that same same vibration if you really are open.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Like the state that we enter when we are like so focused on making art. I don't know. It's very spiritual also. Like uh, to be able to to reach this part of ourselves. Um, yeah, I think they are very similar. The same as like being lost in nature. Like I think it's very healing, and maybe like people just need to find the better way to heal themselves. Like doesn't need to be psychedelics, doesn't mean to be nature. Like everyone is going to find their own way to deal with those things.
So I can jump in here. I mean, I have another question because you've obviously been in the space for a lot longer than most of the artists that have come in. Did you ever find yourself in a position where you were kind of playing a mentorship role or helping new artists enter the space? And in general, what advice would you give someone new entering the space?
Yeah, at first I was like people come to me and I was like focus on the community, but I think this is like very cloudy aspect to say, like, because I feel like a lot of people can end up in this, okay, so community is important, so I need to connect to people to sell my art, but that's not the way. Like it's not the end goal. Shouldn't be like sell, even though of course we need that, but if we focus on that, it's really easy to fall on those expectations and don't have those expectations filled. It's going to be a very hard time. Like taking from my own experience, because I had a lot of expectations, and when things didn't went like the way I was expecting, it was hard to even to have motivation. But like I said before, you have to find the meaning, the reason to do what you do, and to know that this space is still very small, and but at the same time then there's different niche of people. So in some points you will find like the people that you connected with you are, so like there's people for everyone and so many different tastes. And if you keep believing in yourself, in some moments someone also will believe and also will connect with your art. And at least this is what I'm experiencing right now. Like I was like, oh, like I need uh, followers and things like that, and in the end maybe one people is going to be enough, like to help you out and to get things started and to put things in motion. And of course not putting pressure on people, individuals, but to know that like it just needs people to connect with your art and to have fun, mostly to have fun, because it's easy to go crazy. It's very easy to go crazy into space, so you have to laugh about it and keep going.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, it's such a healthy mindset to have in the space where there's so much noise and so many opinions, right? People telling you what you should do all the time. So it's super refreshing to hear how you've approached it, the fact that you've stuck to your passion and your style, despite maybe not getting as much engagement as you may have wanted initially. And it's amazing to see that finally for you to finally be reaping the rewards. So it's really amazing to see, but not surprising.
Absolutely wonderful perspective, man. The whole chat has been gorgeous, so beautiful, and yeah, definitely educated myself and grabbed some of that positive energy to keep up the grind.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so I the only thing I haven't asked you about that I probably should is the artwork that you are featuring with the Gazette, the Down to Earth. I mean, you want to just describe? Another beautiful piece, again, like all the other work that you have, and it's. I'd love to hear just from your perspective how you describe the piece.
Yeah, this one is one of the most personal also to me, like, because it talks about like something that I went to, like I'm going to, like this thing about, because I am a very grounded person, like I don't know how I sound, but I'm very grounded, like very realistic, and I, like very determined, but I feel like it's just a tiny part that keeps me grounded, because otherwise I would be like floating around, because I feel like it's so easy to enter another world, like especially like making art, for instance. When I start making art and I go to the flow, it's so easy to me like not go out like for days, or not interacting with people, and just like focus on the art, and to leave this floating, and this universe that is like fantasy, represented by the dragonflies in the artwork. But I think it's important to have something, even it's like the flower, it's just a metaphor because it's so fragile. It can't hold yourself to the ground. But if you have something in your mind that helps you to stay grounded, and to stay like in the motion, like to, because of course we have to do things in the physical world to keep moving. And that this work is about those two things, like those universe that has a very tiny um, line between them.
Yeah, amazing. It's a beautiful piece, and anyone would be lucky to collect an edition of that. So thank you for sharing it.
Yeah, it's amazing. And let's cut to the audience if there are any questions, guys. Thank you, everyone, so much for showing up. It's amazing to see all those PFPs popping up and actually having a little bit of an audience. So if you would like to join the conversation, feel free to raise your hands and we will pass the mic.
I have a question. I feel like I should ask about when you disappear for a few days, do you listen to any music like repetitively? Do you have a particular way of like, flowing? Is that a weird
Yeah,
question?
no, I love it. I do hear a lot of music, but to be very on, sometimes I also like, if I'm doing it on the iPad, I'm also like uh, seeing some movie or some series in the notebook, while in the laptop, while I'm animating, because of course it's a very repetitive uh, thing to do, like animating. But most of the time I'm just with my thoughts, to be honest. And I think that's the part that for me it's kind of therapeutic. It's therapy, because it's just me, with my thoughts, and think about life, and reflecting about things. But yeah, music, It's always amazing to put something that I vibe with, and of course it inspires me a lot.
Nice, nice. I love it. I also put podcasts or talks or series when I work sometimes. Sometimes you need to hear that something like you have company with you, but you like to be alone at the same time, right? um, okay, I think that's it for this week. We're gonna wrap it up. Just a small reminder: if you would like to have an edition from LesCogumelos, just go ahead and mint the Gazette for 0.1, and you get this beautiful artwork pinned up for free. If you would like to explore and discover amazing art, you should definitely check OMZ's project, Filtered Art, where when you jump in, you just scroll immediately and you find incredible art curated just for you. It's absolutely beautiful. And yeah, I think that's it for this week. I would like to. I am very excited for the Samba exhibition and the Brazilian artists, and I would like to thank Cogumelos and OMZ for coming in for this amazing chat. And yeah, I'm looking forward to what comes next.
Thank you so much. I love to chat, and thank you OMZ for inviting me. Uh, yeah, thank you so much.
No, it's a real pleasure. I really enjoyed talking to you. Reg, can you play the intro again? I'd love to.
Yeah. We always do at the closing. Just a tiny question before we go. Are you going to be in Lisbon?
I am. I'm going
Yeah.
to be.
You will?
Yeah, I am.
Okay,
Definitely.
fantastic. Okay, so I will DM you. We will chat further.
Mm.
Amazing. So yeah, thanks everyone for joining us today. It's been wonderful. Thank you, OMZ. And yeah, have a wonderful day. Bye bye.